Hey guys, Nick from lacrosse. I want to make a video of how we coat wax mesh. And so basically this is just a 1 pound slab of white beeswax. It looks a little yellow, but I think once it melts down it'll be white. And so first thing you want to do when you're coating wax mesh is you're going to want to break up the wax into smaller pieces. There's one right here. And basically what you're going to do is you just want to take a hammer and then just try and hit it in as many places as you can to break it up in big chunks, just so you know the amount you're putting in each time you're going to you make wax mesh. So you're just going to So that's about what you want, because a lot of times when you get these bigger pieces, when you start melting them down, you can actually melt them down about halfway and then pull them back out. So that's about what you want. But also, when you do this, make sure you obviously have a gallon bag or so. Put all this in, and then have another bag to put it into, just in case you created any holes, like right here. There's a hole right here, and right here, and a couple other places. So you can put that in there in another gallon bag, so you don't lose any wax. Alright, the next thing you guys are going to want to do is mesh preparation. One thing that you aren't going to want to do is never coat mesh when it's like this. Because when you're coating mesh like this, the wax forms in between, and that'll just, when you actually pull it apart to, when you stretch it out to string sticks, you'll get a lot of flaking, and that's definitely not what you want. So make sure that you have it stretched out fairly well. That way that once you get it all, mainly there is a little bit of excess wax that will form, but a lot of it will just form where you need it to. Alright, so I just did one piece, and so there's very minimal flaking, but you guys can see I actually have white beeswax now, so it's not that off-white color. So it's pretty stiff when you first get it, especially but it breaks in fairly quickly. It definitely does hold its shape. So that's that. Now we're going to get into the actual coating process. So this is going to be, I don't know, whoever the first person was. I think it was Mr. Duan or something. I don't know. I think that's going to be his piece, and this will be NBA Lax 17s. And so what we have to do is we're going to basically just run the wax. We're just going to dip it in there in several places. Again, make sure that it's stretched out so the wax, because going back to this piece, if this was pulled together, when I pulled it apart, all in these diamonds would be leftover wax, which isn't there right now. Again, this is just straight up white beeswax. I think it works well enough for wax mesh. You don't need a bunch of stuff to get a decent formula, and it's fairly cheap. So we're just going to start dipping like that. And then once you get down here where you can't get any more, make sure that you have like a pair of tongs. And then get all the places that you haven't hit yet. So like here, all around here, it's a little more right there. And then you see I missed a piece right here, so we're going to lay back down, get right there. Kind of a tedious process when you get to it. And then you're gonna want to just let it sit here like this. You can see how the top's already started to dry a little bit. But make sure you get everywhere, and then just kind of hold it like this for a little bit. That way it all evens out. I know it's a little lopsided here, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'm just gonna make sure. I think I missed a little bit right here. We're just gonna wait, and then after a little bit, this wax right here, make sure you just pat it a little bit to make sure it's not too hot and you don't burn yourself. Hold on to that. It's just a little warm. And then flip it over. And then repeat the process. One thing with this is that if you grab it when the wax is still hot, it'll stick to your fingers, and it hurts very badly, speaking from experience. That's why this is such a slow process. You don't want it to burn your fingers because it hurts like several swear words in a row. Yeah. Just gonna keep dabbing, make sure that you get everywhere. That way, once you finish, I think I got everywhere. I'm gonna make sure, run through this one more time. I think I missed one right there, so we're gonna run. But if you stretch out the diamonds and let it sit like this, you won't get any excess wax, because all the excess wax that there is will all drip off. So you see we do have some clumps up here. I missed a little bit of the tip, so I'll go back and get that in a second. Alright, we're going to flip this back over. If you guys are getting bored, go ahead and skip through the video a little bit, but this is extremely tedious to make sure everything's done well. Alright, I think that's good. Alright, so now, I mean, I missed a little bit of the tips, but honestly, that's not used for stringing, so it's not that big of a deal. It's a little thick down here than it should be, but anyway, so what we're going to do now is just set this down, like so. Make sure that it lays in the position you're going to want it to be in, because that's the way the wax is going to dry and stay in. You're just going to leave it like that. You get wax all over your fingers when you do this. Also, one tip, if you see here we have tin foil lined all the way around the burner, because when wax falls into the burner it's very hard to get out, but if you leave the tin foil in there, it will help catch the wax and you can just pull those off. Alright, so now, this is something that I don't see a lot of people do. You're going to take the wax and you're actually going to stick it in the freezer. And the reason why you're going to do this is because it will help harden up the wax fairly quickly. See, it has a little bit of flaking going on, all that excess wax dropping off. Just stick it in here, make sure that it's all even. Here, leave that in there for a little bit. Alright, so this is the piece that we just took out of the freezer. Leave it in there for about 30 seconds or so. And you can tell, if you look closely, you can barely tell a difference. I think this one has a little bit less wax on it, which is good because it will break in faster. I mean, you can't really feel a difference though. It's almost the exact same. Same everything, but I want to show you guys something real quick. I'm going to run this under some water. And you can see how this mesh literally just beads the water off and you can barely tell a difference. It does have a little bit of a difference just because it's only beeswax. I did run that under there fairly, under a lot of water instead of a lot of people just run under a little bit of water. But you can tell that there is a slight difference, but I can barely feel one. It does loosen up the mesh a little bit, but not a ton. It is waterproof, the wax doesn't come off. So that's kind of that. This is going to be for NBA Lac 17. This one's going to be for Mr. Dundun, or Mr. Do, I don't know how to pronounce his name. But, so NBA Lac 17, Mr. whatever. I'm so tired. And basically, if you guys, I know he has already sent me his address, but NBA Lax, if you could just send me your address, that'd be great. I'll try and get these out as fast as possible. I'm definitely going to throw in probably some stickers, and maybe some other things to go along with it. But, you know, other than that, rate, comment, subscribe. See you guys later.